You're on a plane at 35,000 feet. The cabin crew is serving dinner. Passengers choose between chicken or pasta. The pilot and co-pilot are also eating. But they are never, under any circumstances, eating the same thing. This isn't a preference. It isn't a tradition. It is a rule. A rule enforced by aviation authorities around the world. A rule that exists because of what happened when it didn't. To understand why, you need to go back to 1982. A flight from Boston to Lisbon. Midway through the journey, the captain begins to feel ill. Nausea, stomach cramps, dizziness. Within an hour, he is incapacitated. The co-pilot takes over. But within minutes, the co-pilot begins to feel the same symptoms. Both pilots. Same meal. Same timing. Same result. The investigation found food poisoning from a meal both crew members had shared before boarding. The plane landed safely, but only because one pilot managed to remain conscious long enough to coordinate with air traffic control. By a matter of minutes, 200 lives were saved. That incident didn't create the rule, but it made the aviation industry ask a question it had been avoiding. What happens when both pilots can't fly? Food poisoning at altitude is not the same as food poisoning on the ground. On the ground, you feel sick. You rest. You recover. At 35,000 feet, moving at 900 kilometers per hour, with 200 people depending on you. There is no resting. There is no recovery time. There is only the cockpit, the instruments, and whatever is left of your ability to function. The symptoms of food poisoning, nausea, vomiting, disorientation, loss of concentration, are catastrophic for a pilot. Even mild impairment at a critical moment of a flight can mean the difference between a normal landing and a disaster. And food poisoning, unlike most other sudden illnesses, hits multiple people at the same time if they ate the same contaminated source. That's the specific danger aviation had to design against. Not one pilot getting sick. Both pilots getting sick simultaneously. The solution was elegant and absolute. The pilot and co-pilot must always eat different meals, prepared separately, served at different times, from different sources whenever possible. If one meal is contaminated, the other pilot remains unaffected. If one pilot becomes ill, the other can take full control. The redundancy is total. The logic is simple. And it costs nothing except coordination. Most major airlines extend this rule further. The pilot and co-pilot are also encouraged, and in some airlines required, to eat at different times. Not just different food, different timing, because the onset of food poisoning varies. Eating at different times creates a window. If one pilot begins to show symptoms, the other has time to take control before becoming impaired themselves. But here's where it goes deeper than most people realize. The meal separation rule is part of a much larger philosophy that runs through every aspect of aviation design. It's called redundancy, and it is the single most important concept in keeping you safe when you fly. Every critical system on a commercial aircraft exists at least twice. 2 engines, 2 hydraulic systems, 2 electrical systems, 2 pilots. If one fails, the other takes over. Automatically, seamlessly. The passenger never knows anything happened. The meal rule is redundancy applied to human biology. You can engineer a backup engine. You can install a second hydraulic pump. But you cannot install a backup pilot mid-flight. So you protect both pilots from the same threat reaching them at the same time. Different meals, different timing, different sources. 3 layers of separation between a contaminated piece of food and a cockpit with no one conscious to fly the plane. There's one more layer to this that almost no one knows. Airline pilots are also advised, not always required, but strongly advised, to avoid certain foods in the hours before a flight. Raw fish, shellfish, undercooked meat, exotic local cuisine eaten in unfamiliar destinations. Not because these foods are dangerous in general, but because food poisoning from these sources can have a delayed onset, meaning a pilot could eat something during a layover, feel completely fine at takeoff, and become severely ill 2 hours into the flight. Every meal a pilot eats, before and during a flight, is a calculated risk assessment. Most passengers never think about this, but the people responsible for landing the plane safely think about it every single time they sit down to eat. Think about what this means the next time you board a flight. 2 people in the cockpit, different meals in front of them. It looks like a minor logistical detail, but it is one of the quiet, invisible systems that keeps every flight safe. A rule written not by bureaucrats in an office, but by the near disasters that happened before it existed. Aviation is the safest form of mass transportation in human history. Not because flying is easy, because every single risk, including what the pilots ate for dinner, has been identified, studied, and systematically eliminated. You've flown on planes your whole life. Now you know one of the rules that kept you safe without you ever knowing it existed. If this changed the way you think about something you've experienced but never questioned, that's exactly what this channel is for. Hit like. It tells the algorithm this is worth showing to more people. And subscribe, because the next video reveals another rule that exists on every flight you've ever taken. A rule you've never heard of, for a reason you'd never guess. See you there.